speaking of questionable white people. Drake Bell. Drake Bell. Yeah, I know. This is supposed to be about black folks and black. Trust me, all of these things that I discuss are affecting y'all. It's always about us. It's always about us over here. However, sometimes the placeholder is non-melanated, which is fine. Drake Bell, honey, they done this special quiet on set and all that. And they is revealing all the teas behind Nickelodeon, honey. Nickelodeon and the kitty diddlers and all. Child, honey, they done been kitty diddling and diddling kitties, honey, over there. They do it at Disney, honey. They do it at Nickelodeon. Allegedly, allegations, retraction, redacted. Nickelodeon, honey, Disney, child, who else they got now? The Cartoon Network. Anywhere that children works in Hollywood, baby, you better watch your child, honey. Hide your wife, hide your children from Hollywood. If they want to use AI for something, they need to go ahead and AI children in films and television because we don't trust them on set with y'all freaks. But anyway, Drake then came out, honey, and he done spooked the tea. They done did the quiet on set. What we learned from quiet on set is Dan Schneider. We learned about Dan Schneider. Do y'all know who Dan Schneider is? Huh? The fat one. Yeah, the one on the left. That's Dan Schneider. We learned about Dan Schneider. Honey, here we go. Dan. Hey, Dan. Baby. Now, let's talk about Dan. Dan liked to play favorites, and Amanda Bynes was one of Dan's favorites. Honey. Drake Bell, pictured here, he spooked Dan Snyder's kitty diddling set, honey, as well as he had already spooked Brian Peck's kitty diddling set. Y'all probably wasn't aware of that. Let's see if we can pull up a picture of Brian Peck. But Brian Peck already registers as an offender. Him and Drake Bell registers as offenders. Honey, sometimes the victim becomes the perpetrator, honey. Y'all know sometimes the prey becomes the predator. And apparently this is what happened with Drake Bell. But yeah, Drake had told on Ryan. I remember I always had told on Brian. I remember I always wondered what happened to Drake because I always thought that he was going to be, superstar. You know what I mean? I had always seen that for him. And then he kind of just disappeared. Well, apparently he had disappeared, honey, because like most child actors, he had fell prey to the kiddly diddling and became a kiddly diddler. That's Brian Peck. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, it's giving offenders. It's giving registered Brian, registered Drake. But Drake, the rabbit hole goes deeper. Drake wanted to tell his story. So he told on Brian Peck and threw Dan Schneider under the bus, who he said was kitty diddling him as a child. Yeah, we learned that our black talent was heavily ignored. The black talent on Nickelodeon was heavily ignored. Let's get a raise of hands for anybody who's surprised. Nobody putting their hands out? None of y'all was surprised that the black children was ignored on set? And overall, Nickelodeon didn't do a great job of protecting the children. Ain't it about protecting the children? It's awful funny how these politicians keep talking about protecting the children, but they keep bringing up the transgenders and not the actual offenders. Dan Schneider. Hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your dog, hide your cat. From Dan. Dan can't be trusted around nothing but a donut. And he gonna eat that. Dan looked like he done had a gastric bypass or something. Maybe Dan is on that Ozempic. Dan was running things. Yeah, this is my whole childhood. Yes, I was a child during the 90s and the early 2000s. Yes, and I was watching Nickelodeon. And Dan was so heavy behind the scenes. You know how some people be so big behind the scenes that you just remember their face. You see them on camera and everything. Dan was that person for Nickelodeon during that era. This is him and his favorite, Amanda Bynes. I think it's safe to say that that Dan's favorite, honey, Amanda. I think it's safe to say that Dan's favorite, Amanda, turned out to have some issues as well. Y'all know that Amanda had that breakdown, and we had never really seen Amanda again after the breakdown, and they was talking about rehabilitations and mental health and addictions and all. Anyway, let's do an Amanda Bynes update. Let's see how Amanda's doing these days. Y'all know she had went to cosmetology school. Can't you tell by her makeup?
Hey everybody, I wanted to let my fans know that I'm taking the board exam to get my manicurist license this Tuesday. I really hope I pass the test this time. I will let you all know if I do or don't, of course, and I'll keep retaking it until I get the license. I hope everybody has a great day. Bye. Hey everybody, I wanted to let my fans know.
Amanda said that she is not giving up on her cosmetology license and that she wants y'all to know that you can depend on her to do your hair and makeup legally in the very near future, professionally. Let's do a show of hands again. How many people are excited about Amanda working in the shop? Amanda got a podcast now too. Thank you, Ladarian. Have you listened to Amanda's podcast, Ladarian? What is Amanda on there talking about? Does she bring up Brian Peck or Dan Schneider at any point? Let's pray. I would like everybody to pray for Amanda and her mental health wellness on her wellness journey. Honey, y'all know that your girl, me, is still in recovery from her last mental breakdown. Fortunately for me, it's never gotten as bad as Amanda.